Guest on who I've had on quite a few times because I really think it's important that we learn the message. And his message is actually pivotal to our journey to escape the slavery-driven system we now live within. He's an expert in natural law and natural history. David William, welcome back to I Am Nature.
Howdy.
Howdy, Dave.
Here we are, making history again. Yep.
Well, I hope we make history.
Well,
I was hoping to get someone on as a guest, like a second guest tonight, to discuss this issue of using bar Attorners to fight for land rights and ecology rights and things of that sort. Thinking of the huge demonstration we got going down there, it's basically becoming a community, which I fully support. I don't know if you've heard, David, but they're actually going to have they're trying to create an eco community down there at Standing Rock in North Dakota. So these are very good things that are happening.
Agenda 21 thing in there.
Sorry?
They're pushing their UN agenda.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that. I like eco-villages off the grid, sustainable living. There's nothing wrong with that.
I thought you were talking about the state doing it. Then I owe you an apology.
No, it's the actual the tribe that actually owns the land where this whole thing started. Okay. They before any of this happened, they were trying to create an eco-village down there. And now they're highlighting that, and actually I suggested that in one of my posts 2 weeks ago to them, that they take some of their funds raised to create something like that. No, it's funded by the UN as far as I know, but this is something good. I mean, I said they should use it as a place to teach activism and natural law and all the things we need to fix this planet. So I'm a big fan of a lot of what they're doing. But the one thing I don't understand what they're doing is this, and it's been going on for centuries, is their faith in a completely corrupt legal system, which my understanding is legal means not of God or against God's law. Is that not true?
Yes. It's true.
Yeah. You should get closer to your mic, bro. I can barely hear you.
I'm practically on it, but maybe it's because I'm in a much bigger room right now. Right now, I just happen to be in this giant, empty living room. So it's probably the sound isn't doing the same thing as it does in the smaller room I'm usually in.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, it's changed because David just moved recently. Actually, yesterday you took.
Yeah, I'm missing in action again, which is the way I like it.
Yeah, you like it.
Yeah, missing. Okay.
Undercover. That's my mission. Hey, before we get into that, I want to tell people that just promote my own network that's coming. I'm going to stay with Revolution Radio. We'll probably do a simulcast of I'm Nature from the new network, but it's going to be a video-based network called Making a Difference.tv. David's going to be on. He's going to host a show called Lost at Sea. Now, that sounds pretty neat. What's that going to be about, David?
Lost at Sea is you, because they created a corporate fiction, a dead entity, mirrored from what you are called. So if your name is John Henry Doe and all lowercase letters, that's not the same as John H. Doe in all uppercase. So what the courts did, the bankers, is they turned you into the debtor, which is why they prosecute everybody in their corporate courts. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to wind up getting your butt cheeks handed to you by these wordsmiths and deviants, they should say. Well, that's what the bar attorneys do. They turn your estate over to the crown by making you the debtor. And it's satanic. It's all based on deception and debt. And the word, probably the scary word for a lot of people is the word satanic. But it really is, actually, especially if you go and you start looking at the nitty-gritty nuts and bolts of Satanism. And that's what it is. It's Baal worship. That's why he wears the black robe of Saturn. They're Saturnalians. Saturn is Satan. It's, the dark planet, the dark lord. And that's who it is. And that's what they're doing. And so they're doing their ancient Hebraic Baal worship. And that's where bar comes from, really, is that old language. I mean, it is connected to British accreditation registry or British approved registry or different barristers. There's a bunch of things that you see go around. And there's a lot of truth to a lot of that, by the way. You have historical proof of it. So it goes all the way back, especially in our history. Our history is very short, very young nation, 200 and some odd years. So the whole thing that they do is debt, and they deal with the dead. That's why when he comes in the room, they say all rise, because all the dead come, they rise, and they call out to the dead with all capital letters. So that's what they're doing, and it ties into a bunch of things tonight. And one of them is the people out there in the Dakotas. These people have birthright to many orders of magnitude higher than any of us, really. And to think that they have to be booted off of their own land for a deception and a building permit for this pipeline, and you can read the document. These are all foreign agents. So the people.
Okay, David. Before you go any further, why do they have more rights to the land here than we do? Well, what?
Well, to me, it's an unwritten right. I would be embarrassed as forgive the term white man. I would feel low to tell one of them what to do on this land. Okay. Especially a Crown Temple bar attorney out of City of London, which is where the Middle Temple bar is. It's all London. And anybody who tells you otherwise, attorney, psychopath in a black robe calling himself a judge, these people do heinous, horrible, terrible crimes to people. And they're sick in the brains. And they'll tell you, oh, that's not true. Well, it is true. What they do is very, very nasty. And you don't have enough time on your shows to get it all out. That's how nasty these people are. So I have to pick and choose tonight what I want to share with the people who are the natives of this land for many, 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 many generations. They need to learn that what they're doing is they're going up against something very different from what they are led to believe. It's not a government at all. It's a governmental service from a foreign corporation. All of these guys in black robes are agents of the International Monetary Fund, which is yet another bank, and it's UN, and that's all bar. If you're looking at UN documents, you might think you're looking at bar documents, or if you're looking at bar documents, you might think you're looking at UN documents. That's who they are. The ABA, the IBA, they're all franchises, subsidiaries, subdivisions, baby corporations of the main Crown Temple bar, City of London. City of London is not London; it's City of London. It's about, if I remember correctly, it's about 680 acres.
One of the things that you've highlighted in some of our discussions is just the actual lower and upper cap makes a difference in the meaning of the actual word. Now, most people don't understand that when they read law.
If you look up capitis diminutio, minima, media, and maxima, and the more caps you have, the more your status is diminished. So it's not dominutio, it's diminutio. Capitis diminutio maxima is usually the most looked up. So if you start typing that in, chances are, unless your computer is brand new, it's going to come up. So, all right. That means in all capital letters, that's calling out to the dead. Okay? That's what you see on your tombstone. That's why they call it a last name. So Doe isn't the last name. You call yourself Brian Porter. Well, Porter isn't the last name. Brian P. Porter in all capital letters is the last name, the whole thing, because it's the last name. He's dead. And that's a corporation. It's a dead entity, and it's mirrored from you, and it's taken from the birth certificate, and the birth certificate is taken from the certificate of live birth. And there's a lot of deceit and treachery that goes on in there because your dead guy has a different birthday somewhat than the living man, because all the corporations are on the Gregorian calendar, which I believe is 13 days different than the other calendar, the Julian calendar. So you have a lot of things that happen with years and months. Like Caesar Julius got a month of 31 days. Caesar Augustus got a month of 31 days. Decem is 10, decimal 10. December is the 10th month. See? And so you have 2 more months added there.
Okay, well, let's not get into calendars. That could take us all night just talking about all the different calendars.
I was done. Oh, perfect timing. I was all done.
But
there's a meaning for that, though.
But no, I just want to.
Dead guy claims a status over you because of that 13-day difference. He takes claim to the land. That hole in the ground. So I wasn't going into that for no reason. That calendar, the Gregorian calendar that says that your birthday, you weren't birthed, you were born. Your corporation was birthed. So it's a 13-day difference. So he claims that land. And that's supposed to be your tenant. But instead, they made you the tenant. You switched places with him. So that's what you did. And it's that simple. So the guys in North Dakota are dealing with corporations who claim they own the land. And they don't. They don't.
Okay, that's really key. Go into why
they're all in bankruptcy.
Who owns the land, David?
The bankruptcy is Rothschild of France. You've got Rothschild in England, Rothschild. There are Rothschilds everywhere, including China. Everyone thinks, oh, China is this, China is that. China is run by these crazy Zionists and these ruling families because there's a pecking order. It goes all the way up above the Vatican to several families that run everything. House of Orsini, House of Medici, House of Farnese, House of Borgia, House of Somalia. There's like 13 families that run everything. There are the old pharaonic bloodlines. That's what's going on, and it has been for a long time. And the people, the natives of this land, have been dealing with people who have a legal excuse to lie to them because they're considered goyim and dead entities. And these people who can call others goyim, they're not Jews, really. They're hated by the Jews, if anything. A lot of the Jews hate these Zionists because they're crazy, nuts, satanic people.
Well, they're frauds. They're frauds. They're not representing.
Well, they're a total fraud. The problem is they're trying like hell to cover it up, but no, it's not. The genie is out of the bottle forever. There are Khazarians and Ashkenazis and all kinds of other things all working together to make sure that they don't interbreed with everybody outside of their little deal now. In fact, I can't even make an intelligent comment on it because I can't even get my finger on it. These people are anything but what they claim to be. And they're going to bring the world to war again. And that's who brought us into all of the wars we've been in, is these bankers. Anybody that reads now at all knows that these are bankers. And who are the bankers? Well, they have their returners. An returner is a broker. Okay, they're called brokers or returners because that's what they do. They return estates and dead entities, and they deal with corporations and contracts, fraudulent contracts. But that's what it is. So the natives are constantly engaging in these so-called treaties when they're not really at all, and never mind honoring them. It's all fraud. So what these people need to learn how to do is to stop trying to sue them in their courts, because those are bar courts. Those are not courts. Those are mock military tribunals. Anyone who thinks that those courts out there are courts of law are seriously lying or mistaken, or both. But it's in that case, a little difficult to be totally all of both. But there are plenty of them that know that they're up there, and they know they're covering for something. It's just that they can't figure it out necessarily.
Okay, let me just ask a question. You often say that the courts are bankruptcy courts as well.
Well, they're not courts. They're trading houses because they deal in counterfeited securities. Okay, because when you walk in there, that dead guy, Brian K. Porter in all capital letters, he's the one they're calling, and they start posting bonds against that thing. And they start tapping into it. They're making a lot of money keeping you as a corporate entity. And again, I'm only saying this for your listeners. Don't listen to anybody that tells you what I'm telling you is not true. Don't listen to them. They're liars or something. They're protecting, and they're really and truly, I'm glad I just mentioned that. They're protecting the concealment of the bankruptcy, because you are the collateral for the bankruptcy. Hello? They're monetizing the birth certificates. They're bonded for like $680,000 when you're born, and then reinvested, and you're the secure creditor.
So you're saying your total value for the average person when they're born is $680,000?
Well, for the average person, yeah. And it changes, it varies, because you have preferred stock, different types of stock. And pretty much all of the meatballs that you see, rich people, they're not rich. They're fat in debt. They don't have debt instruments. Now, what they are doing, they have the debt instrument. What they are doing now, and anybody who watches the banks can see, the banks now, remember, they don't have money to loan you. When you walk into a bank and you put your signature down on that paper, or the dead guy's signature, you're signing an autograph for him. And the signature, the sign, that's Patrick Devine refers to it appropriately as a shadow of the autograph. So you're adding life to the contract. So the money's coming from you. You don't take loans. There are no loans to you. They don't have any money to loan. None. All they're doing is they're charging you interest on something that they never loaned to you. And so they're doing that unlawfully because they're supposed to let you have these alleged loans for free because you're prepaid. That's how they got away with taking your rights to own property away. That's what the Civil War wasn't. Civil War. That's what that was about. It was the first hit to take your property rights away. It was over money, taxation, and property rights, and then the second hit was the bankruptcy in '33. You notice every 70 years something goes wrong. Who was why? 70-year bankruptcies. So it's United States of America 4. The first 3 bankruptcies have been discharged to the future. So that's what they're doing. They're holding you as collateral for the debt, as if you're a corporation. Because all persons, corporations, persons, are the enemy of the state in Trading with the Enemy Act, because FDR amended that in '33. I'm guessing May or something. March. In fact, ignore that. That's not even a good guess, but it's something.
Well, you got the right year. We're not worried about that.
And it was FDR, and everyone loved him, and he was a jackass. They're all jackasses. It's only a couple that, and all the good ones or who even turned good was murdered. The Jesuits killed like 5 presidents, 4 or 5 of them. Kennedy, Lincoln. That's who does it. The Vatican is in with the crypto Jews, we call them, the Jesuits. Ignatius of Loyola and his successors were these crypto Jews. They're not real Jews, though. They're not at all. They have no Semitic lineage in them either. They're Khazars from Central Eastern Europe and Asia. They were kicked out of every part of Europe and Asia. And that was like a big nation. Right around the year 800, they adopted, I guess it was Talmudic Judaism, which is, God help us all. I mean, these people think that because they're worshippers of Lucifer, that they have the right to kill us all. And that's what they do. They start wars and they get both sides financed to kill each other. And the enemy of choice is the Christians, really.
Yeah, well, I made the analogy in one of my posts this week to North Dakota protesters that basically what they're doing is they're just funding this corrupt legal system, because when the bar is running both sides of the coin, the prosecution and the defense, they're just funneling this thing, and they're going to let protesters get arrested, and then they'll get freed, and all they're doing is sucking their resources, their money out of them, right, to pay all these legal fees, but nothing's going to come of it.
Well, I have a friend who's the Numu tribe. They're known by the Americans as the Paiutes, because that's their craft. They use those Paiute, the type of reed grows near the water and all that. A lot of their handicraft work uses that stuff, so I guess that's why they call them that. But they're the Numu tribe, and he looked at the information that I had on this law firm from the University of in Colorado, was it? And he said that, well, you could see that they're a bar association law firm, and they won't even talk to him because he knows who they are, and they'll avoid you like the plague once you start telling them who they are, because they know that they just can't even respond. They're not allowed to talk about it. They have their oaths, you know. Bar attorneys are pretty much not going to tell you a lot of what they do, especially when they call themselves judges. They're not judges. None of those are Article 3 courts. Those are not judicial courts. So you use your own judgment. A notary is a officer of the court, but a notary is under the Secretary of State, which is administrative, executive. So how are they officers of the court? Well, those are executive courts, not judicial courts. So all those bar attorneys are running executive, administrative, bankruptcy courts. They're the administrators, and they're supposed to set off your debt, but instead they killed you. You have no standing in law because you're the all caps dead guy, which, by the way, again, I know I've mentioned it before, but that's the straw man in the Wizard of Oz. I go everywhere that you go. He doesn't have a brain. He's not real. And he's just an individual. So he's the straw man. He's the all caps guy. And then because Dorothy assumed the liability for him, she got the Tin Man, taxpayer identification number. So all this theft of the land in the Dakotas is taxation, and it's debt. So the IMF, Rothschild Zionist scum of France, is claiming that, well, the Americans abandoned the land and they're not Americans anymore. They're all indentured servants as state employees because, and again, I forgive the wording, but if you're stupid enough to continue, I don't mean you're stupid now, but if you continue to think that you're a U.S. citizen, you're stupid because you can't be, number one. Number two, if you claim that you are, all you're doing is giving them consent and putting yourself in their jurisdiction as a prisoner of war, enemy of the state. So you're war booty. And you're used and tapped like an aphid for profit, which is supposed to be what they do with their corporate coup d'etat. In fact, they always had control because you go to the Treaty of Peace, Treaty of Paris, 1783, you'll see that the king still maintained control over commerce, waterways, certain minerals or interests, you know. So that's why they're ravaging the land for everything they can get out of it, mostly for gold and oil. Other things, of course, but, those are the biggies. And now this pipeline is for oil. And it looks like they played a fast one with the building permits for 1/2 acre lots all the way through the string of this. So there's enough stuff to dig up on all of them for heads to roll if these people, these natives, and they don't like to be called natives either. In fact, I don't blame them, And I guess really if you translate their own language, they're the people.
David, some of them don't mind. I checked with quite a few I know, and no, they don't mind being called natives. A lot of them don't like being called Indians. It's just really, I think it goes on a tribe by tribe basis. I mean, we respect natural people, folks. I mean,
I don't.
We respect. I mean, they knew how to live here. They knew how to live in harmony with nature, and we have to get back to that. That's what my show's all about.
Well, I don't believe that I owe anybody anything, but morally we kind of do. I mean, I don't speak for you. I speak for myself. We should not be bothering these people after the white. And I'm not part of what happened, but the Zionists hide behind Jews and they hide behind white people. Well, the white man. Well, it's these crazy Zionist Jesuits like Rothschild and J.P. Morgans and Rockefellers and Kissingers and all of the Federal Reserve directors, Yellen, Geithner, Bernanke, Volcker, Greenspan. Come on. Only a total buffoon would say, well, you're stereotyping. The brain discriminates because it has the ability to notice patterns, Some people, they say you give a robber a gun, he can rob someone. You give a robber a bank, he can rob everyone. Because, like I said, they don't have any money to loan you. So you're signing your rights to get free. You're financing everything that they do. So they have to give you set-off. That's what that is. It's called set-off. And they're not doing it. And then what they're doing is they're stealing your home that you put your own labor and sweat equity into it, and they're calling it foreclosure when they never loaned you a dime. That's why they all stick together, the scum and the black robes. When you go to the court and you subpoena that instrument, UCC 3-501, paragraph 2, sentence 1, that you have the right to demand the instrument. All they're going to do is pull out a copy. That's just like you reaching in your pocket and pulling out a Xerox copy of a $100 bill, and taking a copy of a debt instrument. And it's all fraud. So that's what they're doing. They don't have the instrument. If you look at one of the lines in the alleged mortgage agreement, you will find that you gave them permission to make as many copies as they choose of the instrument. So that's what they're doing. They're going after your estate. Because the Zionist bankers are going after your estate and your account and your Mortmain account. It's the dead guy. It's just KV Trust. And that started in 1666 in England. They had that act right 2 weeks after the London fire. And they had a thing going on with the Vatican all the way back to the 1200s with King John, I guess. The silver that he owed them, some kind of marks. Forget the currency, but in essence, that's the fact. And he didn't pay his debt, and he ended up going by default. And everyone will say, well, that's fraud. It wasn't done right. Say what you want, okay? The mafia of the Vatican and the Zionist bankers are ruthless killers. And they will send millions of your people to war to get you killed off. And they will do. They're playing games with everything now. And let's face it, nowadays, I don't have to describe how I can make the claim, but because people are waking up, they're reading. Well, it's the Zionist bankers who owed everybody money, gold, and then they pulled off 9/11. Hey, too bad if it doesn't sound pretty. That's who did it, okay? And they got insiders here to do a lot of the dirty work. Bush's CIA, Bush's son Marvin was the one in charge of picking insurance and electronic security of the trade towers and all that.
Okay, Dave, we want to focus this show on the issue of the native struggle there.
That's what you're doing. These are the people that they're dealing with. So you don't deal with them in court. You go after them in admiralty without the United States. To hell with their crazy ass banker courts. Go after them out on the high sea in admiralty yourself, right out there, because their courts are admiralty courts.
Now,
they tell you and they perpetrate fraud, and they have you when you walk into the captain's vessel, you're now war booty, and he can take control of you at gunpoint. So don't step onto the invader's vessel. That's a foreign vessel. All of those courts are all City of London, each and every single one of them. Okay? They're all the Rothschilds, because Rothschild is he's the guardian of the Vatican treasure in Malta. Okay? So
now,
what you need to do is an international law notice of claim. They all need to write international law notices of claim and start claiming their share of these businesses that are doing this to them. And you're going to get them to agree with it, because they won't be able to rebut the affidavits. And an affidavit stands as truth in law and commerce and contract. Because the highest form of law is natural law of God. Nature, the world. And then the highest form of law among men is contract. So they're telling you that you have contracts with them. They don't have any contract. They're not supposed to even talk to you. You know that? When you get pulled over, there's a guy over there in Canada where you are. They're going to prosecute him for paper terrorism. Well, I saw someone sent me that link. I'm going to contact him. And basically, they're the ones doing the paper terrorism, not him. He's going after them for doing paper terrorism on him, because a cop pulled him over, I guess. And the cop is claiming that he doesn't have the right to travel. Well, a lot of people say, well, you do that, you get in trouble. No, you got to prosecute them. That's the key thing. No one prosecutes. So just like with the people in the Dakotas have to do, they have to start prosecuting.
So you're saying, okay, let me just make it specific here and slow it down a bit, because I know you don't think you go fast, but you do. Okay, each person who is at this demonstration should file an international notice of claim?
Oh, yeah. Every one of them.
Okay, where do they learn how to do that?
Well, let's see how many of them contact me. I'll show them.
Okay, how do they get a hold of
you? I don't deal with the legal world. Okay, legal. Like you pointed it out today. What does legal mean? It's in the Encyclopedia Britannica. It's the undoing of God's law. Legalese is black word magic. God's law is the word. The word. So did you ever hear the expression, the pen is mightier than the sword? Word? Well, that's what the Attorners did for the knights. The Attorners started to change the estates from one lord master to the other and own you as a slave. Okay? So all of the all caps guys are the slaves. They bonded it, and then they get all the dumbasses across America and Canada to say, oh, I'm that all caps guy. Bang, you're in. You just gave them jurisdiction. You claim to be a U.S. asset. And it's your ass already. So that's what it is. It's that simple. Don't think this is double speak or hocus pocus or no. That's exactly what they're doing. And there are any number of methods. In fact, go on YouTube.
No, but
look up on YouTube and look up certificated person. The Certificated Person by Kurt Kallenbach. And in 5 minutes, he's going to explain how this happens to you at the hospital. And that's what they did with the Indians, the natives. They turned them all into corporate fictions. and they suckered them all into paperwork. When what they need to do is to take the City of London word black magic, legalese, and all that, and give them legal X-lax and get rid of it and pass it, and then start to prosecute them.
Now,
because in my opinion, and again, this is my opinion, I cannot speak for you or your listeners, but my opinion is based on that which I perceive to be fact. And if we let these people go down, we're letting ourselves go down because they have us next anyway. And we shouldn't even look at it like that. These are our fellow men. We can't let them stand alone. We have to, go after these nuts. And the bank, they're going down. They're on their way down already. They're just trying to pack themselves up with as much as they can take. Some of these banks, like I said, they're turning fictional currency that they're propagating, and they're buying up gold and gold mines with it. So they're turning it into substantive stuff, stealing it from America with the money that they create, and then pass the debt off to you. When really and truly what they don't want to tell you is that we're the ones that are owed. We don't owe anything. The people, the bankers owe us. A lot of people don't know that. We're owed trillions, actually quadrillions of dollars. They have been paying you. If you take the Federal Reserve Act is 1913 and the Banking Act of Canada was 1913, both crown corporations. And it's United States and Canada, which are one thing basically, almost. And if you're getting paid with these checks, you haven't been paid yet. Those are IOUs. Even the cash is IOU. This note, promissory note, is legal tender. It's nonsense. Doesn't exist. It's fiction. And there was a 10% fabric to this blown up bubble, and it was gold, but it doesn't mean it was a gold standard. A lot of people use that incorrectly. It was never a gold standard.
Dave,
backed by a gold.
Dave, you love to go off into tangents, and you're
so it's all part of it. You're dealing with.
Yeah, I know it's all connected.
Banking.
I want to get back to this international notice of claim, which is
banking and debt again. See, it's all tied in.
Yeah, I know. No, I know it's all connected, but I want to focus on this international.
That's what it is. You want to put in a notice of claim. You have to create a negotiable instrument.
If you you do this, if you use your all caps dead guy, or do you need to be free of that death certificate?
No. You have to do notices of claim, and you go after them and their dead guy. You have to do both, and you have to do it the right way because you're going to be creating a negotiable instrument. You're going to make them admit and agree to lien them. You're going to get them to agree to the lien. That's why the guy that they're charging with paper terrorism. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
The people have to lien their aggressors. These people have no right to this at all. And there's already many liens on them now. I mean, I think that the more people that learn how to lien them, it's going to put them out. These are sick people. They need to be taken out. And one of the ways to do it...
Well, they're killing the whole planet.
Well, they're murdering the people.
They are sick. They are beyond sick.
Well, they're murdering everything. Kroll Industries, another Zionist outfit, they're the ones that are behind all of the problems with the nuclear plants. They're the ones who are... That's the overseeing group for all of these nukes. Why? Hello? People don't want to believe that this is what's happening. A satanic cult has taken over everything, even more than it has before. And that's who it is. It's these Zionists. People don't want to bite that big pill. The Zionists are satanic nuts. And a lot of people are going to find out their whole religion is based on Satanism. They go, Saturn Day. Hello, Sabbath, and whatever language it is. They're good luck with that, okay? Star of David. That was what the Romans gave them. That little hexagram in the middle. That's the black cube of Saturn. Hello. You ever draw a cube in 3D when you were a kid with pencil? 2 squares and connect them. Well, that's what that is. And these people believe that you are killable. You're a goyim. You're fodder. They can't go to jail if they kill you. They can't be fined if they rob from you. This is satanic sickness, and they're not Israelites. They're not Israelites at all. They're not at all. They were booted off of that land twice. Even the real Israelites at the time, they were booted off the land twice for brazen, reckless disregard to God's law. And then all of a sudden they're saying, "Oh, we're owed it again." I don't think so. That's not even them. So these are the people who are robbing the America. They're doing it in South America still. They murdered more of the Indians than anybody, the Jesuits, and raped all the women. They're sick, and this is what's happening. The bankers are doing this to take the land from the people who own the land.
And it's the same people, David, who came here and pretty much took out all the native people. 99% of them were murdered.
Over 100
took out. These people are beyond evil.
Well, the Jesuits were started in Spain, and that's where Ignatius of Loyola was from. And Columbus came here for Spain. Columbus was a Portuguese Jew. I forget his name. I have it written in a web page that I'm creating. I forget the name. And then he changed it to Cristoforo Colombo, and then to Cristobal Colon. Colon is Spanish for like money. He was anything but what they made you believe in school. Explorer, discovered, my ass. There were many waves of people here long before that jackass. And the king and queen of Spain were butt kissers, and then there were basically the Jesuits essentially kind of took control of the Vatican and Rome in the 1500s. Started then. So
the doctrine of discovery. How's that for a euphemism for genocide? I mean, honest to God.
Oh, they were killing so many Indians that they were shoving sticks down their throats to keep them from screaming all night and keeping the missionaries up. If it's Jesuit, I hope I'm, if you don't know, all right, feel bad that you don't know, but, I'm not making fun of anybody, but if you're Catholic, I grew up Catholic in a very Italian family. We know about the Jesuits. The Jesuits are jackasses. They're satanic. And they're the murderers, the thieves, the infiltrators. It's the Black Pope. The Jesuit general runs the Vatican under the Gray Pope. The White Pope is the Francisco and Franciscus. One is corporate, and he's Jesuit for the first time in history. The Jesuit White Pope and the Jesuit Black Pope. They took over before the other popes were sick, dying, dead, or old, and both the Black and the White Pope, and that's what happened. So now I think when you see two Jesuits, this is wartime conciliati. Okay, you got jackasses in charge, and there's probably going to be a lot of mayhem in their lifetime, and they are servants of the Dark Lord, Satan. I know how this sounds to people. In fact, 20 years ago, if I heard this, I'd be saying this guy's talking a little out there. But, there are a lot of people who believe in Satan if you don't. Okay? And they do, and they follow this stuff. And you'll hear it in music, Hollywood, media. It's all satanic. I mean, look at what's going on in the Super Bowls now at halftime. They're waving it in your face. Hello. And then they just did that big satanic thing in CERN because they're trying to summon fallen angels from, I guess it's Saturn again, huh? There's supposed to be 200 of Satan's angels on Saturn, so they're trying to create a portal. There's a lot more that's not in the Bible, too, that's been taken out, kind of. And I don't want to get into that, but there is a lot. And a lot of history is intertwined with it. You'll find more of it in other books. One of the most famous, controversial ones would be the Book of Enoch. Some people call it Enoch. But that's fine. But that and other books. So the history of the Bible, that little skinny book, the Bible, that's nowhere near all of the information that could have been in it. The Romans created that, the Council of Nicaea, around 300. And then you had Josephus, a Jew from probably a good 100 years before them. All rewritten and edited and all that. And that's what's going on with the land. See, these same bankers, the money changers. The one time in the Bible when Jesus went cuckoo, okay, in the Bible, you can read it. Went into the synagogue and started throwing out the money changers. So, the synagogue of Satan, he called them, right, wasn't it? So, it's the same thing now. How do you think these plans take place, Brian? It takes someone who's around for a long time to plan, and that would be the Vatican and the bankers, because they plan ahead. Everything is, you look at a year like, oh my God, there's a lot of days I have to work. They look at a year as 12 months in the calendar. And then every year is 12 more, 12 more. So everything is a big plan. They use celestial physics. They plan business. They run all of the businesses and the banks and the corporations. And look at Kennedy. Kennedy tried to stop the Federal Reserve. His butt got shot, it looks like, to me. So another one, the Greenbacks, Abraham Lincoln. He was a total jackass, Lincoln, and especially when you really start studying history around that era. He was a total jackass, and started to see what a jackass he was toward the end, and tried to do some things to make up for all of the damage, the permanent damage he did. And then they ended up killing him. John Wilkes Booth was an operative of the Jesuits. So the Vatican, Catholic Church, hell. It's even in the Book of Revelations. The harlot, the whore, crimson and purple, drank of the blood of the martyrs and the saints. You know, that's who it is. And unfortunately, this is all, you know, you start learning this stuff over the years when you study history. What do? You accumulate more and more and more knowledge, because every time you see anything related to it, you jump on it. And then after many, many, many years, you start realizing that all this stuff is true.
Dave, how long have you been studying law? About 40 years?
It will be 40 years right around my 18th birthday, yeah. 40 years. I'll be 58 in November.
I mean, this guy knows of what he speaks. I mean, he's been reading law. He's been following up leads. How many law books have you read?
I talk about it like I'm talking about the ball game. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't sound as if I'm reading it from a book, right? But what happens is you all of the laws that you see broken here today are a result of this. This is why I'm into it, because when I was 18, I started to see that the police were just total buffoons. And they got away with everything. And then I could see why. They're in with the bar. The bar attorneys could take the police right off the job anytime just by attacking their bonds. If you have a cop that's bugging you, or people, just keep hitting his bond. After a few hits on his bond, he won't be bondable. That's the end of him. The reason this guy put a lien on the cop's house is they call him the free man in the land, Dean Clifford kind of a title that they gave him. They're the paper terrorists. because the just like what's happening with the people in the Dakotas. Do you understand what I'm telling you, Brian? They're dead. The bar killed them. They're dead in the birth certificate. They never claimed control of their estate. So they're using that as an excuse to say that they're the incompetent. So if you don't correct your status, you can screw yourself up good. You can register to vote. You can't elect anybody. Stop thinking you can. Oh, if you don't vote, you have a right to complain. Well, that's nonsense too. They don't. What do you think? You're picking the president? Stupid. Shame on you, stupid. You're not an elector anyway. Oh my God.
Okay, we're gonna be
Rasputin in the white trunks and Lucifer's helper in the red trunks. So you're picking from that. Okay, it's going to be pasta. It's going to be spaghetti, rigatoni, fusillis, but it's going to be pasta. You got two choices: rigatoni or spaghetti. Pasta.
I just want to remind people that they can call in with questions at 310-421-4053, 310-421-4053, or you can Skype us at Freedom Screen 2, or you can use my direct Skype line, which is bporter5611, and we'll take questions in the second hour. I just want, I'm sure people don't...
Yeah, I'd like to add to that. If you're a red man or a red woman, call, please, because we need you people to know what to do. It's just...
Yeah. Okay, folks, we're on break. We'll be back soon. Welcome, one and all, to I'm Nature. I'm your host, Brian Porter, and this week we're focusing on the big protest, one of the biggest, I'd say, in the history of the United States, the longest lasting, and it's a noble cause, and I'm 100% behind these people, and I want to help them with their battles with the state, and I'm doing everything I can to encourage them to change their legal strategy to a lawful one. And the guest I have on this week is the person that they should be talking to, and he has other people that he's there are others that he knows would also, I'm sure, be willing to help. There's no charge for their services, which is really nice. No, they can take those hundreds of thousands of dollars they're wasting on the Colorado Law School, where they're getting their counsel now, and use it to build an eco-village or whatever they want to do with it, purify their water. Do something useful with that money instead of giving it away to the biggest dog pony show in the history of humanity, the legal system. It's a complete ripoff. It represents the Crown. Both sides are run by the Crown. They set the rules. There are no protections for environment within their system. The corporation always wins. Corporations come first, even derivatives. Completely phony instrument that means nothing but a mathematical equation. It now is the highest level has the highest amount of support within the monetary system. So folks, we're dealing with people who are just completely and absolutely gone. They have no connection to the living planet, the living world. And we have to put these people out of business. And Native people are in a very powerful position to do so. And that's why I wanted to get David on. I've been trying to get through to them. It's very hard to get through to this leadership committee down there. I've got a really good contact, though, David, and I'm hoping we can hook you up with Linda Black Elk. She's married to the chief where the whole thing started. So, but that's keeping it kind of like a summary. And I should also put in a plug-in for the station now, folks, because I know I have to do that every week. So the Revolution Radio is a fantastic platform of 80 or so shows running 24/7 on two different sites. Freedomslips.com is the web address. And I strongly encourage people to give $5 a month to the archives and download the shows at your convenience. No censorship here. Everyone speaks their truth, and I certainly encourage you to, to do your own research. But I believe that you're going to be a lot further ahead listening to this station than anything in mainstream, NBC, CBC, CBS, Fox, whatever. You'll get much more accurate commentary on what's happening on this planet by listening to Revolution Radio. Okay, let's get back to David. But before that, I want to remind people to call in 310-421-4053. Skype Freedom Screen 2 or B Porter 5611 is my direct Skype contact. We're going to podcast this too, David, so I think we'll get a lot of follow-up. Now, in order to reach David, I mean, probably the easiest thing to do is just to contact me. I'm on Facebook. I'm talking to people every day on Facebook. So, I'm Brian Porter on Facebook. I live in Toronto. I've got 2 kids and me sitting in a picture on a beach. I mean, you can't miss my my picture if you don't have my Facebook contact. But I'm hoping that people will come through me to reach David. David is also, he's got a million different sites on Facebook, which are very educational. So I think that's probably the easiest way to get to you, David, unless you want a more direct contact.
Well, what I have to do is we're going to be doing a TV show, and I have to create the contact method for everybody because, I can't have you doing it for long. I mean, when are we looking at starting up the weekly show?
Well, I hope to get things moving. Do some trial and error stuff next week. Everything got pushed back a week because YouTube changed their format on us at the last minute. So we're looking at I want to try to do some trial run shows next week. Make sure it works well, and we'll probably be up and running in 2 weeks, full bore. 2 shows hopefully on natural law issues. Yours and Dustin and Xylie's show. So, yeah, things are looking good, folks. And David will be able to, you'll be able to see things written down, and it's all going to be podcasts, so you can take notes. You can watch it 10 times. This is such important information to know, folks.
Well, it's a matter of survival, okay? I'm going to put the emphasis there. American people are, by and large, out of it, okay? I know it stinks to hear that, but every one of us that has the neurons firing to start doing things has to get into action because the bankers want to own this continent, and they're wanting to close the deals, and that's what they're doing. They already sold them. Pretty sure everything I've seen points in the next 70-year bankruptcy is kind of like a lot of handshaking going on with the Chinese, which nothing to do with it. Bias against Chinese people. It's just that, it's once again a bankruptcy. Once again, United States is up for sale, and once again they're going to try to capitalize on us. And people who don't know how to correct their status are always in trouble. Okay? Mm-hmm. And the people in North Dakota... Now, North Dakota has its own bank, You know that? North Dakota is sort of like a special place. Sort of like Colorado's turning into a special place. They have their places for the new establishment. Okay? Anybody that watches what's going on knows that Denver is a pretty hot spot. And also North Dakota has its own bank. There was a bill modeled after North Dakota to start a bank in a different state. I watched that go down in flames, of course.
So who started this bank? Is it a private bank or is it run by the government?
Well, when you say government, there isn't a government. It's a corporation set up on the District of Columbia. And the states are all state of in all caps, but they're supposed to wear 2 hats on the state level. The states are supposed to wear two hats. The federal level, no. The federal level has control over the state of level. State and of in all capital letters, Kentucky, Tennessee, I don't care where you're from. Anything that's in all caps, state of, city of, town of, county of, office of, all that, those are all corporate subsidiaries of the United States. So they're all, aphids to be squeezed.
Well, this is a couple of private citizens who got smart and said, hey, we can create our own money. Let's set up a bank.
Well, it's not that clean. There's a lot of oil going on up there, isn't there? Huh? So there's a lot going on up there. And they are basically grabbing any oil they can that's anywhere near the surface. I know someone who worked on their oil fields up there for a while. Got hurt pretty bad in an explosion, too. In fact, when you listen to her talk, everything is before the explosion, or, well, that was after the explosion. Kind of funny, but you never laugh because she got hurt.
You're talking North Dakota here?
North Dakota, yeah. Yep. Oil rig. This was quite a girl, by the way. She could, not to get sidetracked, I'm not.
Yeah, let's stay on top.
She could operate any kind of heavy equipment. Let me tell you, drive a big truck, everything. They make them a little different out there. Very interesting. So anyway, that part of the Dakotas there, you have something that what it is these people, these bankers, have plans, and there's a lot of forex. There's a lot of investment. There's a lot of derivatives. Even Trump stands to make big money on this pipeline. So you have all of this going on, and it's really, it's a big snowball, and it's going to really hurt America. They're going to really go forward with the plan for 2030. I think it's 2025 to 2030 that really everything is going to be completely engulfed. They'll have complete control over everything. But the people can stop it. Only the people can. But the people, they're training the people because they know that the people can stop them. But they're training the people to be stupid. And it's working. Sorry. Man, wake up. Because if you're paying taxes, you ain't thinking. There's no law to make you pay taxes. They can't even get you into trouble. You're supporting them. You're doing banking with them. You're doing everything in debt. You're dealing in debt. And like the Temptation song, dealing in debt and stealing in the name of the Lord. And that ain't right. So that's what everybody's doing. It's all debt instruments. Federal Reserve fiction based on nothing but debt. Debt with interest. Debt. You're loaning to them. They're not loaning you. They created a fictional system to benefit themselves, and they're supposed to take care of you, but no one knows what to do. And it's easy to stop helping them with it. That's the other thing is the people need to start following the fraud and the money over there. They could really nail them with that. You can look at the scandals going around Hillary right now. She's on a friggin' minefield. Okay? And I don't know whether she's really sick or going down or whether she's faking it so she doesn't have to get prosecuted. God only knows. We don't know. All we can do is theorize. But the people need to contact me, and I'll tell them what they don't know, maybe, right?
Well, we're going to offer, like I call it, like Natural Law University revised history through Making a Difference TV, and people will finally know the truth of what we come from, where we come from.
You gotta be careful too, because there are a lot of people who will copy and paste their way right into jail. No, when they go into the court, the guy on the bench can turn it around on them, and they usually do. You have to know how to shut him down. If you don't know how to shut that guy on the bench down, the bench is a bank. If you don't know how to shut him down, he's going to have his way with you. And he will, because he's a broker. And in fact, he's an approved broker, and they use men with guns to help you understand. That's why you got to be really good at what you're doing when you engage them. I recommend staying away from the court at all costs. And how to stay away is the part you need to learn. They don't have injured parties. They're enforcing color of law on people. So the federal judge that decided in favor of these corporations is not a judge of an American government. He's an agent of the International Monetary Fund, and I have the stuff to share with the people who want to use that and against them. They need to do notices of claim through the Department, through the state, the Secretary of State does. You need to do notices of claim. You do 3 notary presentments because everything is threes in commerce, right? 3 years, 3 days, 3 months, 3 this, 3 that.
No, but I just think it's fantastic because you're offering people free advice on how to do all this stuff.
Well, I'm not giving them advice at all because you can't give people advice. You have to give them information. Mm-hmm. I can just show them published stuff that they can read. And it's going to be self-explanatory, to tell you the truth, once you start putting... Granted, not everybody sees it quickly, but some people know what they're not seeing. That's the first thing you learn is that you don't know what you're looking at. When you look at legal documents, you're looking at...
I mean, the language is so difficult to decipher. The words mean the opposite of what you think they do, and this is what's so infuriating about the legalese.
Well, it's word magic, it's black magic, and that's why they're called magistrates. He's the high priest of Baal. He's the executor de Santort. He intermeddles in the estate of a dead man's trust. Basically, it's in trust. It's not a trust. It's in trust. And you're owed. You're the beneficiary. But they want to make themselves the beneficiary to your estate. You follow? So that's what happens with the Indians. Only they've been getting it longer than, I don't know about longer than the white people. The white people make the best stooges. They really do. The other races of people, I don't even know if race is the right word, but the other skin-colored people, they have a higher percentage of people who are awakened than white people. White people are really well-bred, genetically improved, dunderhead slaves. Really, they are. They're like they hate the IRS, but they'll call the IRS on someone that they think is cheating on taxes or something. Which you can't cheat on taxes because you don't owe any.
Well, yeah, David can teach you how to get out of your driver's license, your birth certificate, your taxes. I mean, there's just no other things that David can, he doesn't call it advice, but offer your information about. Yeah.
Well, you're going to learn how to think free.
That's it.
Don't you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
You have to think free.
Absolutely. I want to set up eco-villages that are completely free. I want them to be in a allodial title. I want them to be as secure and in trust as anything can be. There's ways of using lawful instruments that will make sure that nobody can trample on you.
Well, what you have to do, now, this isn't advice, I'm telling a little story. You have to get the jackass to agree with you in contract. If he agrees to you in contract, you have him. And you have to give him lawful notice. You have to give him 3 notices. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a sealed contract, Brian. You can't just go and start leaning people. There are a lot of things and hoops you have to jump through to do this. But when you do it the right way, well, then it's a whole different deal now. By the way, when you get Jackass to agree, because Jackass is not going to be able to answer the affidavits. The affidavit stands as truth and law in common. Okay, so you're going to do it the right way through 3 notary presenters. That's what the people need to do. Why am I saying this out here? Well, I'm not telling them how to do it. They'll get in trouble if they don't know what they're doing, but it's what it is. You're dealing with U.S. courts. Those aren't courts. Those are mock fake military tribunals, and they don't do any of it lawfully. They're not even treating you properly as a prisoner of war. Why do you think there's always war on this, war on that? That's the real reason. Because it isn't war. There's someone attempted to create a treaty of peace for what you call the Civil War. It was never a civil war. They created a treaty of peace over that. But that was only recently, because the United States is still in a state of war, by the way. So all corporations are aphids to squeeze, like the ants do, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. So the Indians need to learn this.
Well, I mean, if they want to actually achieve their goals of taking back control of at least some of their lands, they have to use these strategies. The other ones have failed them miserably.
Well, look, come on. The pirate vessel comes ashore. Look at the flag of the state of New Hampshire. There's a boat with the oars on land.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, there's two seals. One is the original one, and the other one is the corporate. The New Hampshire Constitution goes back to the very beginning of the 80s, 1780, very beginning. And it's older than the U.S. Constitution. But it's nonetheless, when you read it, you can see what they're doing. However, there are provisions in there that they're not following, which is why they're getting prosecuted. I guess I should include that message, is that the method that I'm already getting ready to use on the House leadership, I'm going to really drag them through the mud.
In New Hampshire?
Yes. I gave them 3 weeks' notice to comply with the law. I didn't expect that they would. I expected them to ignore me. I don't care. It's fine with me. So then off to stage 2. Now they start getting their affidavits. And I'm going to get them to respond in writing. And either they're going to lie, which is perjury, or they're going to tell the truth, which I doubt it, or they won't answer, which I hope, because they're not going to be able to rebut the felonies that are in there.
Tell some of the drama that you've been through. You've actually been talking to some of these senators, calling you and asking you questions, and you've been explaining to them that bar attorneys.
Well, there's nothing new about that. I mean,
but you've been involved with this. I mean, you've been involved with politics.
Well, not politics. I have no interest in politics.
No, but the politics of law and administration of law, and you've worked with Congress people, and you've helped them frame laws. I mean, you're considered an expert in your field.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we all should be, really. This is everyone says, well, I'm a doctor. Everyone should be a doctor. They know about the body, and everyone should be a lawyer because they'll know about law. But you can't do it all, right? So, we master a few things, but not everything.
Well, I mean, yeah. But what I'm telling people is that, you're very credible. You've helped people out of many, many situations. You just came from a place where you help people secure the rights to their child by not registering them and protecting them from vaccinations. I hear there's something as
you do not want to sign a birth certificate.
72 vaccinations now, folks, before your kids go to school recommended.
You're only stupid if you want to go along with that. And people say, well, you go, well, what it is there are stupid people. and they're conformists. They want to get the vaccinations. They want to do all the paperwork. They don't even realize they're perpetrating fraud and it's being used against them when they fill out a birth certificate or a license to get married.
My point, I just want people to know that you actually act and you're successful in your actions for people. You're not just talking off the top of your head here, folks. David is very successful. People come to him and they say, I don't want to have a birth certificate on my child. How can you protect me? You'll deal with the police when they show up. You'll make sure they hit the road. David is extremely effective with what he's doing, and not too many people are going to take on a whole state attorney or justice department and challenge them, or the politicians like you're doing. I mean, you really are a force to be reckoned with, and I just think people have to realize that. And this is why I think you can help the Native people in North Dakota, or anywhere for that matter. I mean, they all have land claims that haven't been honored.
Well, look, this is something for everybody.
Yeah. We're all on the same boat.
To learn what you're doing, because you're paying your life away to someone you don't owe, because they claim you agreed in the contract. And a lot of people are looking for the technical way to solve it all, like a silver bullet or a template, and that angers a lot of people when they hear those two words. Well, can you just give me a list? Yeah, it includes a few years of reading, but a lot of it's handed to you now, where it wasn't years ago. But you need to learn law and who you're dealing with. This is all alleged pseudo presumptive contracts, presumptions of contract. I call them by the way, the tentacles of presumption, because they reach out in places they ought not to. So just so you know. So when you walk into a courtroom, that guy on the bench, he's not there because he's of the good character, that wonderful man that you want to be a judge. He's there because the Bar Association recommended him to the governor because he's the most efficient at railroading. He's just better at it than everybody. So he's going to be the judge. You think the judges decide things on law? They don't. You're not allowed to bring law into that court if you're a bar attorney. You bring law in there, you'll get disbarred. And
are you not working, David, on a case in Canada too with a lawyer to do something similar in Canada?
What about a lawyer?
A lawyer in Canada, you said, who wants to do something similar to what you're doing.
Oh, the legal
in South Dakota.
Society
not in South Dakota, in New Hampshire.
Canada's legal society has broken many laws. And the reason no one's going anywhere with those morons is because they don't know what to do. They're dealing in their courts. They keep thinking those are courts. Well, I'll win one of these days. Wrong. You don't go onto the pirate vessel and expect a trial. It's not a court anyway. It's the bankruptcy administration. And they're holding you as surety. So the quicker you get that through the old coconut, the better off you are. And they don't care about you. Sorry. And they're considered upperclassmen. They're bar members, okay? So
they're better than you. They think they are.
They think that. What it is most of them are as dumb as a box of rocks anyway.
Well, they don't even understand what they're doing, half of them. They don't realize who they really work for.
They don't study law. There are no law schools in North America.
Say that again. Explain what that means. There are no law schools in North America.
If there is a law school, it's going to be an extremely small school that would probably hold, a dozen or a couple of dozen students. That kind of a school, but no universities really. They don't teach law here. They bastardized the term common law into something that's not common law. And common law isn't what you want to use anyway. You need to know common law. So it's like a tool, a mechanism. But what you need is natural law. That's what black and white is. It's the law.
Based on do no harm.
Correct. I always parallel this, but that's really why the beginning of the movie The Wizard of Oz was in black and white. Okay. It was law. That's basically simple. Remember the dog? It didn't even injure the mean lady, but she wanted to take Toto. Toto is total. Tutti, all, everything. The whole farm. And then Dorothy stepped out into the color of law when she walked out of the house. She went over there.
Well, they went into another dimension, which is kind of what we're living in this dark dimension created by these.
It's the color of law.
Attorners.
It's called color of law. You're living in corporate world as a citizen, and you can't be a citizen of a corporation. You can only be an employee of a corporation. So they're coaxing you in as employees and hostages. This basically is what they're doing. That's why I'm using these words. You're a POW. You read the FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, read the FDR amendment to the Trading with the Enemy Act in 1933. The FDR amendment to Trading with the Enemy Act. So what they're doing is they've turned all persons, which are all U.S. citizens, you're not the person. That all caps guy and that driver's license in your pocket, that's the person. He's the straw man. So, that's not you. You think it's you? Hey, good for you. You're in their jurisdiction. So anyway, you got to make sure you know what you're dealing with and what you're doing. And in law, it's contracts, and they get you to violate contracts as easily as they get you to create contracts that you don't even know you're creating. You follow? That's what I'm telling you. You're getting coaxed into private contracts in everything you do. Every time you speak the English language, you're getting into a contract. English is crafted.
That's why Lucifer was a great deceiver, and that's exactly what the system is. Yeah, I think it's easier to, excuse me, for people to understand that, paying a lot of money in interest is a ripoff. I think people can feel that. They see it. They know how much work and pain and suffering they go through to like buy a house or whatever. But the legal system, it's harder to figure it out. It's harder to understand.
Well, once you figure it out,
it's the foundation of everything.
Once you figure it out, it gets easy. Because you'll stop worrying about some things that you worry about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why people are going into courts and they're playing in the system, and that's not what they should be doing. The people that are doing that are committing crimes, and you want to get them to agree to their crimes in contract. Create negotiable instruments. Get the jackass to agree that he broke the law, and now he's liable. Okay?
Yeah.
There it is. Brian, you kicked the dog on my front porch. Okay? And then you have to deny that. Especially if I put up proof that you did. You have to rebut that. And each sentence in that document is a contract. Each and every individual sentence is a contract.
Yeah.
You kicked the dog. It was 3:00 when the dog screamed. You then walked off the porch and kicked the chicken. And that's how it goes. I'm just making up something stupid. That's how it goes. You violated this. You violated that. And you say who you are and who you are not. You have to establish your status. And you put in a claim. Never a counterclaim. Never put in a counterclaim. I mean, that's you will definitely acknowledge jurisdiction if you give them a counterclaim. Anyway, so you want to just stay out of any kind of dealings or contracts with them because you're always dealing with the devil, and the devil is in the details. And do not use Federal Reserve currency. Don't. You're getting yourself in their jurisdiction by using their fictional currency. You're agreeing to the debt instrument. You're endorsing the check.
Well, I'll tell you, I've talked to a lot of people who are indigenous who say we should have our own money, and I said, go for it. Create your own currency.
You don't need money. What they need to do is to own their land. The way of owning the land has been kept from them. Okay? And they are entitled to that land.
Well, it wouldn't hurt for them to have a currency of exchange too if they wanted to. I mean, it's up to them. I mean, they can barter everything, which is fine too.
Well, what they want to do is they want to co-opt all the Indian corporations into their Federal Reserve System. They're outthinking them again. Why? Is it because they're smarter or better men? No. They're hell-bent, and they stay on path to hell in a bobsled. Hell in a bobsled, straight down. I stole that from Justin Wilson. He's a comedian from Louisiana. And that's what it is. You got all these criminals. The entire Bar Association is the largest pirate navy on the planet. That's it. That's the pirate navy, is the Bar Association. And they're nasty, despicable people. And it's not an exaggeration. The ones who agree with me, and there are those who agree with me who are bar attorneys, but they know they hate the bar. I know people who hate the bar. They hate the unified bar. They know what the unified bar is. You know, those are all foreign agents. Every single one of them. And any support that your state house gives them is fraud and treason to the people, because they're taking your energy and giving it to their overlords over there in the city of London. Okay? It is as I'm describing it, too. I mean, I'm not trying to ruin anybody's night to hear this, but that's what it is. It's a big mirage. It's always been a mirage. America, the United States, didn't win any Revolutionary War. They didn't win any War of 1812. And the War of Federal Aggression was what people call the Civil War. Nothing to do with freeing black slaves. Okay. So the South walked out in 1861. Congress has never reconvened. Ever. Never has. Without a day. Sine die. Without a day. Never reconvened. And what has constructed after that were the Reconstruction Acts, but that was all done at the point of a gun. A lot of the people on both sides, North and South, were responsible for starting that war and making sure it happened and put everybody into another bankruptcy. You know?
But the main cause of the war was the fact that they let me try to remember here. They did not want to pay any more interest to the king on the money they were being forced to use. Well,
not only that, it's the way that they were having to pay, and they didn't want to lose their land, you know. And Lincoln, without exaggeration, you know, you hear things, sometimes people sound like they're exaggerating. Lincoln was truly a dirty, filthy bastard. Okay? I have the list of many things that he's done. I've read up a lot on him and what he did. He was a total dirtball. Okay? And there are a lot of these people in history that you think are wonderful people. They're not. You know, it's your high school principal should be slapped around for teaching you baloney. And if real history were in the books, you wouldn't be able to put the books down. No one would have to force you to read history. You'd be so blown away by what would be in there. You know, Rothschild. You want to see what I'm talking about? I got an idea for the listeners. There's a video on YouTube. It's called "Rothschild Brings America to Its Knees." I'm guessing it's around 10 minutes, approximately. You will find in 10 minutes' time just how much you've been lied to. And it's a very sad video, really, for some people, not everybody. when people watch this video and they see what this stinking den of vipers, as they're called, of their father, which is Lucifer. He's in the Bible history. That's who they are. And you have these dirty, filthy, scummy, icky people enslaving everyone, killing everyone. Like Germany, Japan, and Vietnam all kicked the Jesuits out. They all got firebombed. They started World War I, and for us it was 1 and 2, when in reality over there it was called the 30 Years' War. You know, some of us here called it that. It was just, and it's been war since. They went from World War I to all the other in-betweens, to World War II, to Korea, to Vietnam, to Central America, to the Middle East. It's been worse, especially since 1945.
Well, there's 66 wars going on right now on the planet, feeding the military-industrial complex, which, again, it's all owned by the same people, the same powerful families, the same bankers. It's just a non-stop occurrence.
Well, there's a reason. There's a motive. They're here to kill everything. The Israelis know. They know that they're never going to have peace. They're going to start World War III and everybody's going to die. And they're going to try to kill off the Christians, and they're going to try to use a lot of the Muslims to do it. Why do you think they're going everywhere? People who can't figure this out are really scaring me more than what I'm seeing happen. They can't figure it out. They say, oh, Obama is a Muslim, and he's in with the Muslim Brotherhood. And hello, Obama works for Rothschild. Okay? Jeez. So Obama is just merely, they're using these people, they're shipping them all over Western Europe and America. And it's a big problem, and they know that this is a poison pill for us, because we're going to have all these kooks, jackasses in here of questionable past. And questionable, some of them are beyond question. But they're going to have everybody warring here, because they need to start war, because they want to put on martial law. And the people that are going right along with them. You know, look at what they're doing in North Dakota. That's people that they're doing that to. Those people really have, if anybody has a claim to that land, it's them. And they ran bulldozers through their happy hunting ground, their burial ground. Whoever did that, you know what I'm thinking. Whoever did that should pay. So that's what's going on over there. They're doing it in Central America. You have the indigenous people are already fighting. You have a team down there of Academy is the name. They were XE, and before that they were Blackwater. So Blackwater Mercenary Group is down there with the World Wildlife Federation and Monsanto, canvassing the jungles and the rainforest, spreading GMO poison everywhere and infiltrating. Now, why is a mercenary group? Oh, we're infiltrating. Well, they're not just infiltrating, okay? They're murdering people again, and they go to these mercenary groups who are sick people, who will murder people, and look at these Indians down there as if they're some kind of subordinate to them. And only a satanic murderer or a killer would think he's better enough of another man to kill him. I mean, that's when you've lost all spiritual connection with yourself. Never mind a creator, a God. You lost it, period. You know, if you can go and kill your fellow man, why would anybody want to keep you alive? Think about that one. In fact, other people would have an excuse to kill you. And that's what it is. You've got criminals out there who want to murder people.
Well, we got 2 states, too, under states of emergency. Now I see there's a third one, something going on in Charlotte. Is that North Carolina or South Carolina, Charlotte?
Yeah, Carolinas. Yep. I don't know.
It's North Carolina.
Okay, you're probably right.
But governor just sent in the National Guard. They're having some major issues with violence. Somebody's been shot. I'm not sure if it's a police officer or whatever, but
well,
it's just that every state now is going to declare a state of emergency soon, folks.
Well, the police are not police only. They're actually military, and they're being trained by the Mossad. If you take federal money, which they do, Federal Reserve, you have to take Mossad DHS training, because that's who runs the United States. Is Rothschild's Mossad. So they're the ones who run all the nuclear power plants, all the weapons systems, the Navy, the Air Force, the Army. They're all through the Pentagon. And everyone's saying, oh, Obama's firing them all because they're all against him. Well, really what it is they're firing all of the Americans who actually would, and they're mixing them in with some other people that are bad. They have to hide behind something, like the thumbsuckers that they are. Their own deeds don't stand on their own volition. So they always have something to hide behind. Like I said, the Zionists hide behind Jews and they hide behind white people because they are white and they claim to be Jews. They're not. They're scum. And the Jews are protesting against them in Israel. There's a lot of people talking. It's all hot air to me because I don't know. But they're talking not a civil war, but uprisings over there. So I think that there's a lot over there you won't see here on the news. You won't see it.
Anyone familiar with the writings of Albert Pike, who was literally Satan's apprentice back in the late 1870s? He predicted the First World War, the Second World War, the Third World War, which is in the Middle East, which is still ongoing. And now the next stage is to have basically war in every place on Earth.
Well, that's
the plan, folks. And if we don't get our act together and realize that we're all fighting the same enemy, it's called the Crown. It's Washington, D.C., London, and the Vatican, three centers of evil on this planet. If we don't figure that out soon, come together and put these people out of business, these prophecies are going to become real.
Well, don't forget to leave. Don't leave out the Sisters of ISIS. That's Switzerland. Okay? Switzerland is not a neutral country. They've gotten themselves up in that ring of mountains for a reason. Right? They're the ones who run the biggest of the banks. Okay?
Yeah.
They're the ones who are running everything. And they're the ones who are behind everything. So don't think that they're not, because then you're just totally mush.
Well, you don't build a funnel like that in your country and have all these very odd ceremonies going on to celebrate it.
Well, they're all Masonic sickos. I mean, a lot of people join the Masons because they think it's the thing to do. It has nothing to do with them. A lot of American people decide, I want to be a Mason, and think they're doing something good for the community. Sure, absolutely. But the higher-ups are, like in Council on Foreign Relations and United States Corporation, they're all the scum of the earth. These are the people who are out to hurt you. They're out to hurt everything and everybody and the world, whatever the right word is. I'm even being told that it's not a planet, it's something else. Meaning something believable, not weird. But I'm just saying, it's all this stuff that these satanic people are using. And again, you mentioned Pike, and I've been talking about Satanism. Again, you might not believe in Satan, but they do, and they follow it, and that's what they do. So you have to believe in that.
It's their guiding light. It's my God, it's well documented. You look at the Church of Satan online. They got a beautiful website if you're into that stuff, and of course they're into defeating every anti-abortion law on Earth. No restriction on any age. I mean, these people are beyond,
They're out to kill and hurt and harm, and there are a lot of them will say, well, we're not violent. Well, you're just a stooge into Satanism who, just the typical mall rat stooge. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The real sickos, the ones in control of the money, they're really bad. People catch them doing all kinds of stuff. And
I know. I don't know anyone who hasn't worked for a big corporation. Almost all of them said, "Oh, I had to come into work late one night, and I walk into the boardroom, and there's all these people all dressed up in doing satanic ceremonies." I mean, folks, they have taken over the corporations, the major corporations all over the world.
Well, the corporation's soul, the father of it all, is the Pope.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Holy Father himself, the vicar,
Just look at how hard it is just to stop a pipeline, let alone get rid of them. I keep asking the native protesters, well, you can't, you're stopping one, but how are you going to get rid of them?
Well, they're doing the same thing.
How are we going to get rid of these things that are killing us?
They're protesting them on their land.
How are we going to get rid of the geoengineering? How are we going to stop the poisoning of every square inch of this planet?
Well, you know what? The problem is in the City of London and the Vatican and Switzerland.
Exactly.
The District of Columbia is kind of low man on the pole.
The military wing.
Yeah. And the enemies in Europe, and some of them are here, some of them are here, but you have the moles all over the place. You have a UN building office in just about every state. You have, whenever you hear the words sovereign citizen, you're listening to a creep, because they're the ones who say that. Are you a sovereign citizen? You act like a sovereign citizen. Well, they don't even know how to define sovereign citizen, because that's the most fun I have. I ask them to define it. They can't. Well, only just to see them make a fool of themselves. But you have like the Southern Poverty Law Center in Alabama. And right near in the same neighborhood is none other than Blackwater. I think they moved to Huntsville.
Blackwater, the biggest mercenary service on earth.
Well, it's the kids that were, the ones that got thrown out of school because they're, I don't know, raped a nun or something, one of those guys. The mercenaries who go around and shoot and kill people for money based upon nothing that would really convince me to kill anybody like that.
Yeah, complete people without a conscience, people who are just
spiritually
lost,
dead meat in the head. Their brains, if you X-rayed them, you look inside, there's an iguana in there.
Yeah,
some fork tongue spitting kind of a deal going on inside their brain.
Yeah, it ain't pretty. But hey, let's review quickly again what our native friends should be doing in North.
Contact you for now.
Yeah.
And then the word needs to spread.
Claim of international settlement.
An American. All Americans. White, red, black, every color of skin. Brown, yellow, everybody.
Well, we're all in the same boat, but I just want to try to help. I kind of have a very soft spot. I love the native way of living. I believe that it's the foundation of everything. Not that we have to, move into technology. There's some advanced eco-villages out there, folks.
What do you think of them?
Doing very well.
States. I mean, United States.